Okay, this is video which just sort of shows you an advanced way of digitizing using cutting a polygon rather than actually creating different polygons yourself. Just avoids having gaps and overlaps. It's really for people who know what they're doing with ArcGIS rather than for the beginners. So if you're a beginner, follow the other instructions and you'll produce a perfect map, but this is just a bit quicker for those who know what they're doing, and as I say, it's a bit more accurate. So basically what I'm doing is just editing this reef environment. The first thing I did was to create a new feature, and I just created this extent polygon which I'm going to cut into. So this should be the edge of your whole entire map. I'll just delete it because I've already done it, but that's where I started. Then I went down to modify task and I cut polygon features, and then you select the polygon you want to cut and you actually physically cut it. So you go through it and you have to start outside and create these full shapes, because it will draw a polygon and then it will cut it where the polygon edge exists. So now you can see this is a polygon cut into two. So obviously, if I was trying to draw that and that, you probably have an overlap or a gap, so this just means that you've got continuous zones. What you have to do is start from the outside and work inwards, so you're slowly cutting into the polygon to eventually get to here. So if you notice, I've cut sort of these shapes here, and don't worry about, there are some areas that you could class as the same. So this area and this area, you'd probably say are the same zone, but we're going to merge them. It's just all about calling them the same name. And this area will merge that. So the trick is just to cut simple shapes. So for example, if we now want to digitize this area, I basically just start off just cutting in there, and I'll just start off with that one simple shape, so that now I've got this area, and then you have to select it. Make sure when it's highlighted, that's the one you're cutting, and you have to make sure you're cutting the right one. So then I go again and I cut a simple thing around there. So you do it piece by piece, but as long as we call these the same name, which I'll show you how to do in a minute, then we'll merge them and they'll become the same polygon. So it won't matter that you've got all these weird sort of pieces to put together towards like the whole zone. So you can just sort of slowly, you cut that way, cut through there, and then you'll eventually have particular zones. So what I was saying is that I've sort of started naming the zones, and I actually do it automatically for you. It's now just entering reef area for everything I'm doing. So if we call that inner reef area, and it's quite important that you name everything correctly and the same, so because when you dissolve it will be based on the letters used. So, and also it will dissolve things that are next to each other. So so if we say this is inner reef area, and we'll just say this is, sand and sand again. So we want those to be the same. We want them to be one polygon. So we'll call that deep sea. That's fine. That's deep sea. That's going to be deep sea again. You can actually just copy and paste. Deep sea again. Obviously these are nothing to do with proper zonation. I'm just trying to do it very quickly so that you can see. But I think you should definitely use your own zones and try and find more complex zones than just deep sea and reef area. So I'm just basically making a difference between deep sea and island, I guess. So that's deep sea. I'll just show you also, like this area, I'm going to spell it differently just to show you how important it is, because it will just create a completely different shape. So this is deep sea. So what I hope for when I dissolve is all the deep sea areas to become one polygon. This will become one polygon, and this will become just a separate polygon called inner reef area. So we just go to editor, and then we stop editing and make sure we've saved the edits. Then we go to dissolve. So you just press, type in dissolve and do a search, and then the first dissolve, the input feature is the reef environment, and now you want to click name here, and I'm just going to call it merged environment. That doesn't matter, that just means that I'm overwriting a file, so I don't have to worry about that. So name is the one, is the thing you're merging it with. So if you did FID, you wouldn't go to get much merger because you'd have a different ID for each polygon. So just press OK once you're happy with that. It says that the data is different. And then you'll see all this is nicely merged. So if we start editing again, and I want to make sure I'm editing the merged environment, you can just select and you can see that this is my inner reef area, this is the deep sea area, so it's everything outside of the inner reef. We've got, I guess that's sand, so actually we'll just do this. So you've got sand, the inner reef area, and the deep sea, and that's the deep sea spelt incorrectly, so you'd have to edit that to make it deep sea spelt the same way, and then do a dissolve again, and then it would become part of that deep sea area. And that's deep sea with a space, which is an inadvertent sort of example of how it makes such a difference. So that's space deep sea, which is different to deep sea, so it's classed as something different. So yeah, that's a sort of a better way to digitize. It takes a bit of practice, but you'll find that it just means that you have sort of adjacent zones rather than overlapping.